Hey there, Internet Keith here, and welcome to the Cars and Keith YouTube channel. And if you've watched my channel for a while, you know this is my wash bay. It is finally completely done. This video, we're going to give you the cost breakdown. We're going to break down everything that was used in here, and I went way over budget. We saved money here, and we spent money here. So buckle up. It's going to be a long trip down debt lane. Let's start with the walls. That's where I started with the install. The one thing that I wish I would have done differently, I definitely would have used FRP board instead of this vinyl material right here. It's vinyl board, but it's like an 1/8 of an inch thick and it's 8 foot tall. So think about trying to hold this up by yourself. And this board just constantly wanted to flim over. It was really bad. It's really wavy. That's why I bought the cabinets. The cabinets hide a lot of the problems with the waviness. But those sheets were about 25 bucks a piece. The FRP is about 40, so I say $15 a sheet. I bought 15 sheets, but I really only used 13. FRP board is much thicker. It won't flim over. It would be less wavy and just would look better overall. So part of the wall you have up here, you have these pieces where you have the two sheets meet together. There's a little piece of trim that kind of locks them together. There's a piece of trim in the corner that locks them together. So all in all, there's like 18 or 20 pieces of trim, 8 pieces of trim all the way around. They're about $4 a piece. When I did the numbers for the wall, I included a lot, like the vinyl floor basing on the floor, which wasn't much, about 60 bucks, about 30 bucks in that tape, vinyl base tape that I used instead of liquid nails or something like that. It just worked out a lot better. All the caulking, this door, this isn't paint. This is spray Flex Seal. It actually does really well. So that keeps it nice waterproof because there's a wood door behind. All the wood trim. I couldn't find all white trim pieces because, you know, of the way the world is and supplies, there's a lot of stuff sold out. So there's like some of this is almond color. And we sprayed that with Flex Seal to make it match. We have our light switches here. These are really nice waterproof. This is the garage door opener. All of these stainless steel panhead screws. And the matching panhead style washers. This is kind of pinched into the vinyl, creates a seal there where I don't have to use caulking or anything to seal it up. Now I'm actually not 100% done because I haven't tinted this window yet. I haven't got around to it. That's the last thing, and I consider that part of the walls. Also the trim around the window. This was bare. This was a skeleton, so this was just regular board, not painted. So we did the trim around, caulked it up. I think we used like 6 cans of Flex Seal spray. Like 1 can per window, maybe 2 cans on a door. So here's the most expensive part of the wall setup. This was $500. This is a wall mount garage door opener. So it mounts directly to the shaft that's on the garage door and spins it to make it go up and down. It's a lot smoother. Everything worked out great. We had to go this way. We had to get rid of the ceiling mounted garage door opener in order to be able to do the drop ceiling as high as we wanted to. Now a small part of that budget is about $200 worth of electrical between the light switches and the wall sockets and putting in a 20 amp fuse with the wire that goes over the fuse box. Then we have the vinyl curtain. 8 foot tall by I think 16 or 18 feet, something like that long. It was 110 bucks on Amazon. I think they're like 150. I think they're close to $200. Some of the stuff, the material cost has gone way up like crazy. The track system was 35 bucks. I think it worked great. Just use some 1x4s mounted off of the truss on the ceiling. With the, you know, a piece going the opposite direction on the bottom that I can mount it to across. So you just close this all the way across. That keeps the area over here from getting wet. Part of the wall budget was in here past this door, which we needed in order to get, you can hear the sound, is all of that insulation to here was just normal insulation. And then all of this is soundproof insulation. You hear the difference? Basically almost gone. We insulated the walls all the way around up until here. This was all drywall because it's a finished basement on the other side. It was about 200 bucks in insulation. The grand total for the walls, $1,874. Yeah, that's a bit much, but in the end, I really think it was worth it. It allowed me to insulate the garage, which is going to help the rest of the house. It's completely waterproof. I can just wash this down as much as I want. I can clean it straight with a pressure washer. Next thing, the ceiling. They're vinyl tile, it's completely waterproof. They're vinyl grid, completely waterproof. The LEDs obviously are not, but they're flat panel LCDs. They're sealed pretty good, so I'm not too worried about it. It didn't cost me but almost nothing to wire it because there was already a light in here. So all I did was run a circuit off of that light and just ran through all these LEDs. They don't run much. We're running them at 4K. 5K is a little too blue. Obviously 3K is a little too orange. I think 4K is just right amount of light. We're running them at the lower setting at like 20 watts of usage instead of, I think, go to 30 on these. I think the towels, you buy them like a 12 pack. They're 2x2s. I think they're like 85 bucks. The ceiling grid system was $130 for every 100 square feet. So we bought 4 boxes. We only ended up using maybe like 3 1/4. It came out great. I mean, we just used some eyelet screws. There was a DeWalt bit that allowed you to hook the eyewall screw up to your drill so you can drill them straight in. The trusses in the middle of the house where the living room is here, they go this way, and on this side they go this way. So I was able to hang, because they're going this way, very easily where I wanted to, but on this side I can't. Every one of these lines were completely off what I wanted, so I had to mount a 1x4 across the truss and then put a hanger in the middle of it and then have the wire come down, and then we just adjusted it to the grid. Now, to save some money on the ceiling and not spending an extra $1,000 on a split AC unit, that I was going to try to do myself. Then I learned that almost 99% of all split AC systems, you still have to hire an HVAC technician to come out and pressurize and do all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, then I want to spend a ton of money. So what I did is I tapped in to the register on the house and just, there was a whole side that wasn't being used. So I just cut a hole in it, put the adapter in there, ran this vent over here to this diffuser and gets diffused in here. So to make sure that this doesn't impact how the house runs the air conditioning, the thermostat's in the house. So this is only going to run when the house is running. But what I've done is changed. I ran the fan system 24/7. So this is always blowing air. Because when you have a lot of water in here, water can get up in there. You don't want mildew or mold to build through your vent further around, because at some point it's going to get to where it's going to get everywhere else in the house. This blowing constantly allows to maintain the temperature in here a lot better, keep the airflow, especially when I'm spraying down the car and the mist is in the air. This is going to keep that mist down. The total for the ceiling, $1,535, which I think overall is actually pretty good, because it's a little over 300 square foot ceiling grid system, 6 LED lighting panels, which actually weren't that much. I forgot to mention they were only 235 bucks for all 6. And actually right now on Amazon I think it's less than 200 bucks. So some of the things I bought are more than I bought them for now, or they're less. Some of them I got a really good deal on. Some of them were open box buys at Home Depot. Time for the floors. And you're gonna wonder, why is the camera not pointed at the floor? Well, because this stuff right here helped me make the floors, part of the budget. This air compressor was open box buy at Home Depot, $240, $300 air compressor, 20 gallons, more than enough for what I need. I got a Husky hose reel, and then I got an air hammer attachment and some chisels in order to dig the channels, because I built my own channeling system for under this tile. And I did it that way because multiple people came out and gave me an estimate to do all kinds of different variations of a garage drainage system. Well over $3,000. Every single one of them. Then also, in order for the drainage system to work completely, I'm going to have to pay somebody to come in and resurface the entire floor and cut it down to where it all drains towards the drain. I thought about doing it myself. I was not confident enough to cut beyond the rebar on the floor of the garage. But I was comfortable chiseling and sawing down to, like 1.5 inches, 2 inches deep. Instead of having to redo the entire floor and make it all flow right, I put a trench system around the entire walls and made it to where all of them drain to the center and then drain out. The ones on this side slightly higher than the ones on this side, just kind of leveled it out to where it all flows out. That allows to keep the foam from being in my way when I'm washing on the car, keeping it underneath the Swiss tracks. Which is right here, which is the biggest expenditure in the entire thing. It was $2,000. So my plan was to spend $400 or $500 on tools to do the chisel system. And then we did a one-step epoxy, which is just some paint roller brushes, and it's 40 bucks a can. I bought 2 cans of bare one-step epoxy. So that way the water was not going to absorb into the concrete underneath this tile. It was going to bead on top of that. Also, that's going to allow the channels, because we did the channels in that one-step epoxy, to flow the water much faster, because before, it was really wanting to seep in and absorb into the concrete. I didn't want that. I wanted it to flow out really well. Swiss Tracks is actually built like 1 hour and 15 minutes from my house. So I ordered it through Obsessed Garage, who was the cheapest out there. I'll leave a link below. I'll link below for just about everything that I've talked about in this video. But it delivered in like 2 days from I ordered it at night, and like a day and a half later it was here. But you see, we went with the darker on the outside and then the lighter on the inside. This is pearl silver and that's pearl gray. Came out great. We have the ramps on this side so I can get my lawn equipment in and out. We have ramps underneath the garage door. This is Swiss Trax Rib Trax Pro. So these are the big 16 by 16 sections. So these aren't little tiles like this. This is one big tile that goes around, and it has different shades depending on what you look at it. So it looks like it's a bunch of smaller tiles, but actually it's just one big tile with 4 pieces, and the shadows are creating this effect. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? But it has a really cool channeling system underneath that not only will allow the water to disperse in areas that doesn't have the drain to the drains, it just stays clean all the time because the dirt goes underneath. You just need to take the floor up every once a year, twice a year, clean it out underneath, and then put it back down. It just works awesome. It takes, I think, like something like 80,000 pounds, so you can use you know, jacks or quick lifts or anything on top of this and you don't have to worry about it. Total full of floors, the costliest part of the entire build. $2,616. Like I said, I included the air compressor, air hammer, hose reel, and all that. So if you already had your own air compressor, obviously that wouldn't cost you. So I really needed that to do the floors, but also at the same time it's something I needed for the garage anyway, the wash setup. We have our Active 2.0. When I did the first video, I had the VE52, I believe. So that's $100 more for the Active VE52. I have my Greenworks up here. We use that because that is the lower end of the pressure washers, so that way we can see how 1.1 orifices work on foam cannons. We have the DigiFlows here, which there's one mounted here on the outflow, which gives me my total gallons used and allows me to see my gallons per minute. We have another one down here at the bottom that measures my GPM and gallons per minute coming out, just the deionization system. So I have my shutoffs here, where I can turn off and just run tap water straight up. I can turn tap water off and then run deionized water straight through. I have a spigot right here. I can hook up to a hose that's sitting on the outside of the house that I could use outside for whatever I need, or if I need to hook up a pressure washer review and not put it on the system here. We have the CR Spotless system, the DIW20. Has the inline PPM filter, lets me know how well it's doing. We've already done the RV mods modification. We took the filter housings out and filled it just with resin and put their tubes in there. It's been working amazing. Pre-rinse, foam cannon, rinse, final rinse. Everything is DI water, unless I'm just cleaning the floor or something. We have our amperage meter here that we use for our pressure washer reviews, foam cannon reviews, to see how many amps that we're pulling. Obviously, like I said before, we put a 20 amp fuse in here for this. We have the General Pump 50-foot hose reel. Really nice hose reel, not expensive, 90 bucks. And 50-foot hose, gray non-marking hose. Really nice and heavy, stays flat on the floor. We have the SGS 28 gun at the end. The DIW20 was about $400 something, $350, 100 bucks. The shelving system here is a Home Depot, so it's a couple of mounts in the back and these brackets. So I can move this shelf system up and down as much as I want. I bought big 4-foot sections and I cut them in half, so I still have one more shelf over there I haven't even used yet. These brackets are not expensive. It's like 15 bucks for each mount. I think it was $10 a piece for this bracket, and it was like 15 bucks for the 4-foot sections. It was like 100 bucks in PVC pipe, not a lot. Going up and down, a bunch of elbows, all glued together. Just really simple. I didn't want to spend big money on the piping, like using like Prevost or something like that. I have a tough time between having 3 kids and a wife and everything. There's always something in either the dryer or the washer. So this is basically what you consider to be like a dorm or apartment style washing machine. It's an RCA. It's a little over 200 bucks. I use this drying rack that's been sitting in the house for years in the corner that we bought at some point and just never used. So I have plenty of sections here to put microfibers on when I want to dry. Nice cheap solution. One last part of the wash setup that wasn't in previous videos and I haven't talked about either is a dehumidifier. Now I haven't measured the humidity in here to even know how bad it is because I haven't washed a full car in here yet. So I got this unit off Amazon for like 150 bucks. You can see already it got damaged in shipping by UPS. One of the wheels broke off, so it isn't even city level now. The total for the wash setup, $1,800. Now that's actually not that much because there's some wall mount setups out there that are $4 or $5 grand when you're running Kranzlas and all kinds of stuff. The final part of the wash bay is the storage. So we bought 4 of these cabinets from Keter. They're made in the United States. These are really nice and they're plastic, but when you see the price, you're like, well, I don't know about that. $225 a piece I got them at Home Depot. They were marked down. They're about $250. Now Walmart has a much cheaper version and other people have a cheaper version. Even Home Depot does. The problem with that is most of the shelves can only handle 30 to even 50 pounds. and it has to be evenly distributed. Each one of these shelves can handle 100 pounds. That's metal reinforced shelves on the inside, metal reinforcement up here. These things are so nice. And they're sturdy. They're a bit of a pain to put together because there's so many pieces. So the hook card I include in the storage as well because it's really storing my hood. At the bottom on the hooks, I have, about an inch thick of insulation tape just wrapped up that this is sitting on. And it has 2 locking swivels, really nice swivels. So it swivels this way. You see, I put a board here because this brace wasn't big enough to fit on this part of the hood, and it was constantly moving around, so I put a piece of wood on here. This is the kind of foam stuff that you put in like a gutter to only allow water to go through and nothing else in there. So you see it just tilts this way and locks down. So that allows me to show what it's like to wash a hood at that angle, corrections, that kind of stuff. But then we can also show what it's like at this angle of what the side panels of the car is doing when it comes to evacuating water, foam dwelling, all that kind of stuff. I could test products that I'm not sure of yet or do reviews before I actually use it on my own vehicle. And that's a really solid cart. It was about 300 bucks though, but I think it was a great investment. The final part of the storage is this system right here. And this is the same mounting that we used for the wash setup. But they make a basket and they make a hook hanger. So that's me hang my brushes up here. Whatever I can put in here, my wash mitts in this basket right here. Then I have hooks down here that allows me to hang my wheel brush and that kind of stuff. It was cheap overall for the amount of space that we covered and for the amount of stuff that we stored here. The total for storage was $1,525. Cabinets, like I said, I've seen other ones and none of them have that capacity per shelf. The hook cart was amazing. So I hope you enjoyed the journey. If you watched the other videos, I really appreciate it. Grand total, $9,000. So I spent under 10. Now the original budget was $5,000, and after buying the walls and starting on the ceiling, I knew I was going to be nowhere near. Everything just adds up, but like I said, this is still middle of the line. A top of the line garage for this kind of build, 20 grand, maybe even more depending on what you used. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, check the links below for anything that's in here, anything that I use, and I'll see you in the next video.